What are the differences between Viserys Targaryen in House of the Dragon and Viserys Targaryen in Fire and Blood? How did they become king? And how did they lay the foundation for the brutal Dance of the Dragons? This is the real Viserys. Let's begin with Season 1 of House of the Dragon. Vizzy T is the firstborn son of Prince Balon the Brave, the second son of King Jaehaerys. After Balon died, the Lords and Landed Knights of Westeros gathered at Harrenhal for the Great Council of 101, voting to name Viserys the heir to the Iron Throne over his female cousin, Rhaenys, the only child of Jaehaerys' firstborn son. It was essentially a vote between agnatic primogeniture and absolute primogeniture. When Big JT died in 103, Viserys became King Viserys I. We next meet him 9 years later at a small council meeting. He is a friendly, jovial man with shoulder-length hair and stubble on his face. He truly hasn't aged a day. Viserys is an indecisive man, averse to conflict and eager to find compromise, unless he is pushed to the extreme. In his free time, he paints Warhammer 40k miniatures. He works on a large model of Old Valyria. His brother, Daemon, shares this love of history, in particular the glory of the Valyrian freehold. Viserys bears a complex relationship with his brother. The peaceful king is a man of words, while the rogue prince is a man of actions. Viserys takes Daemon's dramatic cries for attention as insults, while Daemon takes Viserys' caution for lack of affection. At the start of the season, the prince is the commander of the City Watch, having already been fired as Master of Coin and Master of Laws. He rarely joins the small council, except when he's summoned to answer for his violent massacre of supposed criminals in King's Landing. When Daemon and Otto Hightower clash, Viserys, unsurprisingly, finds a middle position, agreeing with Daemon's intentions but criticising his excess. At the start of the season, the King's small council is as follows. Sir Otto Hightower is the Hand of the King, Mellos is the Grand Maester, Lord Lionel Strong is the Master of Laws, Lord Lyman Beesbury is the Master of Coin, Lord Corlys Velaryon is the Master of Ships, and Sir Logan Roy is the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. Oh wait, no, that's Ryam Redwine. In episode 1, Viserys plans a tournament in celebration of his unborn child, who he just knows will be a boy. Vizzy is married to his first cousin, Queen Aemma Arryn, which is an extremely distant marriage for a Targaryen. Despite 5 failed attempts to bear children, they have one surviving child, Princess Rhaenyra. Now Aemma is pregnant with a son. Viserys explains that he dreamed of their son wearing Aegon the Conqueror's crown, seated upon the Iron Throne, while all the dragons roared as one. Either Viserys experiences prophetic dragon dreams like various other members of House Targaryen, or he doesn't, and his personal fantasies are manifesting in his regular dreams. The tourney goes off to a great start. When Lord Bormund Baratheon calls Rhaenys the Queen Who Never Was, Viserys brushes off the borderline treasonous statement. Soon Viserys comes crashing down to reality. Grand Maester Mellos explains that Aemma and the child will die unless Aemma is sacrificed to save the child. Viserys chooses to sacrifice Aemma to save baby Balon, who passes away anyway hours later. Although his small council attempts to push the issue, Viserys does not want to discuss the succession.
I will not be made to choose between my brother and my daughter.
This is literally your job. The council does not trust Daemon Targaryen being the presumptive heir to the throne. Vizzy T is not swayed until Otto Hightower brings reports from his brother. Daemon allegedly called baby Balon the heir for a day. So Viserys furiously strips him of his heirdom and banishes him from court, which he does a lot. Like I said, he acts when pushed to the extreme. Viserys tells his daughter about the Song of Ice and Fire prophecy that was passed down to him, and she is officially named the heir. 6 months later, Viserys continues to master the art of avoiding conflict. The Triarchy have claimed the Stepstones, but he refuses to act. Daemon has seized Dragonstone for himself with a loyal army of gold cloaks, but he refuses to act. Until, of course, it's revealed that the dragon egg meant for baby Balon was stolen for Daemon's alleged child with Mysaria, his paramour.
Whore?
Yeah, or his whore, I guess. The furious Viserys wants to go to Dragonstone himself and take Daemon back to King's Landing, but Otto offers to go in his stead. He doesn't want the siblings to reconcile or anything crazy like that. Otto is very good at playing the king. He has been sending his daughter Alicent to comfort Viserys, who eventually marries her instead of Laena Velaryon, which would have sealed the breach between the houses. The king and queen go on to have Aegon, Helena, Aemond, and maybe Daeron? Does anyone know? We know there is no romantic love between them. Viserys never stops obsessing over Aemma, and Alicent is clearly depersonalizing while having sex with her husband. Vizzy T organise a hunt to celebrate Aegon's second name day. He is racked with guilt over Emma's death and regrets naming Rhaenyra as his heir. He can't even kill a trapped deer successfully, goddamn. Vizzy eventually stands by his daughter, reaffirming her as his heir. He also agrees to help Daemon in the Stepstones, which unintentionally prompts his furious brother to finish the war himself. To Daemon, Viserys' help is not an act of military support, or even an act of love, but an insult. A year later, King Daemon of the Narrow Sea returns to court, but bends the knee to Viserys in the throne room and hands over his little driftwood crown thing. The two embrace and bond over memories past. After Otto informs the king of spy reports, Rhaenyra and Daemon coupling in a brothel, he banishes two men from his court. Otto for having his daughter stalked in order to destroy her reputation, and Daemon for, the coupling. Rhaenyra is forced to accept Laenor Velaryon as her husband. Viserys hires his Master of Laws, Lionel Strong, as his new hand, and Lord Jasper Ironrod Wild as his new Master of Laws. Together, Viserys and Lionel negotiate with the slighted Velaryons. An agreement is reached. Rhaenyra and Laenor's eldest child will take the name Targaryen and will be heir to the Iron Throne, while their second child will take the name Velaryon and will be the heir to Driftmark. We witness Viserys questioning his mundane reign. Will he be remembered? What greatness did he achieve? What struggle did he overcome? Lord Strong insists that his peaceful reign is his legacy, and one to be proud of. In retrospect, this proves to be tragically ironic. The feast before the wedding is chaotic. Daemon interrupts the speech, and then Alicent interrupts the speech, and then Criston Cole commits a hate crime, and gets away with it for some reason. It's all too much for the king, who collapses at the small wedding ceremony. You see, Viserys is a sick man, and increasingly gets sicker over the course of the season. He has an infected wound on his back, which the maesters cauterize. He has a gangrenous finger, which Melos places into a bowl of maggots, yum, and he has horrible sores all over his back. And that's before the 10-year time skip. Afterwards, he looks like a zombie. My man looks like a Fallout ghoul. He's balding, fatter, and missing an arm, holy shit. The fantasy leprosy is ravaging his body. Viserys completely refuses to acknowledge that Rhaenyra's children are obviously bastards. Perhaps to protect them, or perhaps because he's in such denial, he's lying to himself. After all, he appears to be completely oblivious to the tensions between his children with Alicent and Rhaenyra's children. Rhaenyra offers a betrothal between her son Jace and Alicent's daughter Helena, which Viserys agrees with, but he does not enforce it after Alicent's rejection. Absolutely whipped. Lionel tries to resign due to the rumours about his son Harwin, but Vizzy refuses to accept his resignation. Lionel, nonetheless, escorts his son to Harrenhal, where they are burned to death by Larys Strong. The competent Otto Hightower returns as hand. At Laena's funeral on Driftmark, all hell breaks loose. Aemond claims the dragon reserved for Rhaena, a fight ensues, and Aemond's eye is cut out by Lucerys. Viserys appears to be more furious by accusations of bastardy towards Rhaenyra's children than by his own son's eye being cut out. He cannot stand the calumnies. He demands that the infighting ceases, but does not punish anyone. Even after Alicent lunges at the kids and slices Rhaenyra's arm, Viserys does nothing. He is an ill, exhausted man. I mean, look at him. He looks like he's taken a taxi from the club after 10 Jaeger bombs. 6 years later, Viserys is bedridden, emaciated, and utterly ravaged by this Westerosi version of leprosy. Viserys is in so much pain that he spends his days on Milk of the Poppy, while Otto Hightower runs the realm with his pro-green council. On the day Vaemond Velaryon petitions the Iron Throne to be named heir to Driftmark, Viserys refuses to take those sweet, sweet drugs. He surprises everyone by attending court with a dope face mask. He refuses Vaemond's petition, and when the Velaryon calls the strong boys bastards, Viserys threatens to personally cut out his tongue. Daemon kills him instead, of course, but Viserys offers no objection. Later that day, he organises one last supper, inviting all of his family, except Rhaenys for some reason. I've done this bit before in 2 previous videos, but screw it, I'm gonna do it again. Viserys invites his wife, his father-in-law, his second son, his second daughter and daughter-in-law, his firstborn son and son-in-law, his 2 grandsons and first cousins twice removed, his 2 nieces and first cousins twice removed, his brother and son-in-law and first cousin once removed's widow, and his daughter and sister-in-law and other first cousins once removed's widow. Although he didn't invite his cousin, aka his daughter's mother-in-law, or his third grandson, aka his first cousin twice removed, or even his youngest grandsons, aka his nephews. Okay, you get the point. Seeing his tumultuous family finally reconcile, what is he feeling? Joy? Relief? Or sadness? Sadness that he took so long to bring everyone together? Or sadness that this truce is temporary? Most likely he's feeling everything at once. Eventually, the ailing king must return to bed. While high on milk of the poppy, Viserys deliriously mistakes Alicent for Rhaenyra and repeats the Song of Ice and Fire prophecy. Refusing to be reminded of Game of Thrones Season 8, Alicent instead misinterprets him as naming Aegon the rightful heir. After she leaves, at the end of this physically and emotionally painful day, King Viserys Targaryen I dies. The moment his corpse is discovered, the Green Council plots to put Aegon II on the Iron Throne. Viserys is quickly wrapped up by the Silent Sisters, and Aegon is coronated later that day. During the Dragon Pit coronation, Otto Hightower names his old friend Viserys the Peaceful. Let's dive into Fire and Blood, an historical account by Archmaester Gildain, who draws upon a variety of contradictory sources. Viserys of the books is a fat, jolly fellow with a moustache. Hell yeah. As in the show, he's the son of Princess Alyssa Targaryen and Prince Balon the Brave, who died of a burst belly following a painful hunting trip. The baby Viserys was given a flying lesson on the back of Meleys by his mother, and went on to claim Balerion the Black Dread before the beast died of old age. It was the last dragon he rode. At the Great Council of 101, his main opponent was not Rhaenys, but her son Laenor. Tensions were high. Lord Corlys Velaryon was readying a fleet to potentially defend his son's rights, while Prince Daemon Targaryen was gathering an army of sworn swords in anticipation of conflict. Rhaenys had pushed herself and her eldest child Laena, but their claims were passed over due to their sex. There were other claimants to the heirdom. Archmaester Vaegon, the third son of Jaehaerys, 3 bastard children of Princess Sarah, including the son of a Triarch of Volantis, a self-proclaimed descendant of Lord Gaemon Targaryen by way of a younger daughter, a man-at-arms who claimed to be the bastard son of Maegor the Cruel, a hedge knight who claimed to be the bastard son of Jaehaerys himself, and 3 unknown candidates. The Lords and Landed Knights of Westeros chose Viserys to be the rightful heir. The vote was supposedly 20-1. When Jaehaerys died, Viserys ascended the Iron Throne aged 26. The young king, they called him. His wife Aemma became Queen Aemma Arryn. On his council sat Sir Ryan Redwine, Sir Otto Hightower, Grand Maester Runsiter, Lord Lionel Strong, Lord Lyman Beesbury, and Sir Tyland Lannister. As in the show, Viserys and Aemma struggled to have children, with the exception of the Realm's Delight, Princess Rhaenyra, and Aemma eventually died giving birth to the ill-fated baby Balon. Details of her death are not given beyond dying in childbirth. Daemon was banished from court for his heir for a day joke, and Rhaenyra was named the heir in a grand ceremony. Over time, Viserys grew into a portly man with short hair and a bushy moustache. He was a jovial guy who loved feasts and balls and tourneys, revelling in the age of prosperity and peace brought about by his grandfather Jaehaerys. It was not Lionel Strong, but Grand Maester Runsiter who urged him to marry Laena Velaryon to seal the breach. Instead, he chose the 18-year-old Alicent, who had caught his eye at court. Otto's influence in this decision is unknown. Unlike in the show, Rhaenyra was initially happy for her new stepmother, who is not her childhood friend in Fire and Blood. In fact, there's an age gap of 10 years between them. Daemon, meanwhile, whipped the messenger who brought him the news of the marriage. Alicent gives birth to Aegon, Helaena, Aemond, and Daeron. Despite having 3 sons, Viserys refuses to change the succession, and we have no idea if he ever even wavered. Otto Hightower is sent back to Old Town not for spying on Rhaenyra and Daemon, but for incessantly pushing for his grandson Aegon to be named heir. Lionel Strong becomes the new hand. 2 factions form at court: the Queen's Party, who support her sons, versus the Princess's Party, who support Rhaenyra. The jovial Viserys throws a feast in 111 AC to celebrate the 5-year anniversary of his wedding to Alicent. The Queen wore a green dress, the Princess wore Targaryen black and red, and their court factions became known as the Greens and the Blacks respectively. The self-proclaimed King Daemon returns from the Stepstones during this tourney, on the back of the Bloodworm, before landing and offering Viserys his crown. The 2 reconcile, until he's banished yet again. Grand Maester Runsiter suggests that Daemon had merely quarrelled with his brother, while others claim that Daemon took Rhaenyra's virginity. He doesn't go all the way in the show, but he doesn't bother denying these allegations. The flashes of assertiveness we get from show Viserys are even rarer in book Viserys, but there is some overlap. Unlike show Otto suggesting a marriage between Rhaenyra and Aegon, it is book Alicent who makes the proposition to Vizzy T. Instead, he makes her marry Laenor Velaryon, encouraged not by Lionel Strong, but his new Grand Maester, Melos. Rhaenyra has 3 children, Jace, Luke, and Joffrey, who look suspiciously like her sworn sword, Sir Harwin Breakbones Strong. Viserys, of course, refuses to acknowledge their bastardy. Once more, he reconciles with Daemon, specifically giving Rhaenyra his blessing to have Jace marry Baelor and Luke marry Rhaena to appease Daemon. In the show, these betrothals are designed to appease the Velaryons. The Strong Boys and Aemon fight at Driftmark after Laena Velarion's funeral, like in the show, but there is no dramatic showdown between Rhaenyra and Alicent. Instead, everyone gives false apologies, and Viserys happily takes the bait. After Sir Harwyn and Lord Strong are sent to Harrenhal, a mysterious fire takes their lives. While Larys Strong is a potential suspect, his involvement is not confirmed. Other suspects include Corlys Velaryon, who wanted revenge on the man who cucked his son, and even Viserys himself, who wanted accusations of bastardy quashed. Given his personality, it's pretty unlikely that he's the culprit. As in the show, he reappoints Sir Otto Hightower as his hand. Rhaenyra marries Daemon without Viserys' knowledge and gives him 2 more grandsons, and nephews I guess, Aegon and Viserys. In 126 AC, Corlys Velaryon is unwell, and Rhaenyra wants Lucerys to be the heir to Driftmark. In the show, Vaemond petitions the Iron Throne. In Fire and Blood, Vaemond has already been killed by Daemon and Rhaenyra, so his 5 cousins initiate the petition. They argue that Rhaenyra's sons are bastards in front of the king. Now, Viserys has already issued an official verdict, stating that anyone who questions the legitimacy of Rhaenyra's kids are to have their tongues removed. As such, he orders the 5 Velaryons to be dealt with, and they become known as the Silent Five. Book Viserys does not have the same leprosy-inspired illness that his show counterpart does. He is unhealthy in a far more common way, short of breath, stiff of joints, painful of chest. During the Velaryon incident, he is so furious that he slips and cuts his hand on the Iron Throne. If my characters had hands, I would demonstrate that, but I guess I can't. Anyway, Grand Maester Mellos struggles to help the increasingly feverish king. Viserys recovers after 2 of his fingers are removed, which clearly inspired the trajectory of show Viserys' health. He never sits the Iron Throne again. A year later, he holds a grand feast to celebrate his returning health. He forces the Greens to wear black and the Blacks to wear green, although this doesn't stop Aemon from calling Rhaenyra's sons strong boys during a speech. He has done little to solve the tensions at court. When Mellos dies, even his replacement is a source of factionalism. Rhaenyra wants her maester, Gerardis, to become the new Grand Maester, while Alicent pushes for the Hightower Maester to take that position, Alfador. Viserys, unable to choose, lets the Citadel decide, as usual. Archmaester Orwyle is selected. Sir Otto increases the green presence on the small council. The strict traditionalist Lord Jasper Wilde becomes the Master of Laws, and unlike in the show, Lord Larys Strong becomes the official Master of Whisperers. This is not to mention Sir Criston Cole, already Lord Commander at this point after Sir Harold Westerling dies of natural causes. On the 3rd day of the 3rd moon of 129 AC, Viserys is visited by his daughter, Princess Helena, and his grandchildren, Jaehaerys, Jaehaera and Maelor. He tells them a grand tale of his own grandfather, King Jaehaerys I. Afterwards, he goes to bed, closes his eyes, and never opens them again. His body is discovered at the hour of the bat. Alicent has the death concealed and summons the small council. With the exception of the neutral, Orwyle, and the pro-Rhaenyra Lyman Beesbury, the Greens, including Alicent, argue for placing Aegon on the throne. They enact their plots, murdering Beesbury, sending ravens, arresting blacks at court, and so on. During this time, Alicent forbids Septons and Silent Sisters from attending her late husband's body, which begins rotting and swelling in his bedchamber. His death is announced a week later, and he is finally cremated. Both characters share the same strengths and the same weaknesses. They can be friendly, loving, jolly, but also conflict-averse, indecisive, quick to bury their heads in the sand. Book Viserys is not as fleshed out. He is the archetypal jolly fat king, the sort of guy you'd like to get a drink with, but a weak monarch whose incompetence ultimately leads to the Dance of the Dragons. Show Viserys is far more complex. A weak king at some points, a strong king at others. He can be vulnerable and strong, incompetent and decisive. In other words, he is a flawed human. Upgrading his health issues from a tight chest to a grotesque physical and mental deterioration not only provokes empathy, but reflects the collapsing relations in his own family, the factionless rot spreading throughout his court, and the eventual state of his own beloved realm. His relationships are also given more weight. He loves his wife, but fatally pushes her to give him a son. He loves Rhaenyra, but he also argues with her. He wavers on his promises. He is not cruel to Alicent, but nor does he truly love her. He thrusts a life upon her that she doesn't enjoy. As I said before, he is human. George R.R. Martin once said that show Viserys is better than his book Viserys, and personally I'm inclined to agree. One is a sad tale of a naive jolly buffoon, the other is the tragedy of a husband and a father who just wasn't cut out to be king, let alone a family patriarch. House of the Dragon Season 2 is approaching. As well as weekly reviews and some animated content I've been cooking up, we're going to be doing weekly live streams with the one and only Quinn the GM, breaking down the latest episode. Our streams will probably be jumping between our channels, so go ahead and give them a sub. Speaking of, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, hit the like and subscribe buttons. There's a Fantasy Haven Patreon if you want extended videos like this Royce one, or exclusive videos like this Dane one. During Season 2 I'm going to be hosting Patreon only live streams, and also doing episode watch-alongs on the voice chat in the Discord. And of course, feel free to check out the merch store. We've got t-shirts, beanies, mugs, all of that good stuff. The links are in the description below. If you want to learn about the real Varys, check out this video. Special thanks to my highest tier patrons, Alex, Andre, Boombler, Caden, Colshot, Devcole and Loopsie. And let me know in the comments, do you prefer Viserys in the book or in the show? Cheers.